श्रीला प्रभात महाराज की
जय।
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की
जय।
आनंद गौरी वैष्णव वृंद की
जय।
नमाचार्य दास ठाकुर की
जय।
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की
जय।
जय गोप प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि
हरि
बोल।
हरि।
all glories are some devotees, all glories are some
हरे
devotees.
कृष्ण।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो
ओम
भगवते
नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम
ओम
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो
ओम
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 9, The Passing Away of Bhishma Deva, verses 27 to 29. First read 27. Dana Dharman,
धर्मान
Raja Dharman,
राजधर्मान
Moksha Dharman,
मोक्षधर्मान
Bhagasha,
विभागशः
Sri Dharman,
श्रीधर्मान
Bhagavad Dharman,
भगवत
धर्मान
Samasa,
समासा
Vyasa,
व्यासा
Yogada,
योगदा
Dana Dharman, Raja Dharman,
धर्मान राजधर्मान
Moksha Dharman, Vibhagasha,
मोक्षधर्मान विभागशः
Sri Dharman, Bhagavad Dharman,
श्रीधर्मान भगवद्धर्मान
Masa Vyasa Yogada, Dana Dharman, Raja Dharman,
धर्मान राजधर्मान
Moksha Dharman, Vibhagasha,
मोक्षधर्मान विभागशः
Sri Dharman, Bhagavad Dharman,
श्रीधर्मान भगवद्धर्मान
Masa Vyasa Yogada, Dana Dharman, Raja Dharman, Moksha Dharman, Vibhagasha,
मोक्षधर्मान विभागशः
Sri Dharman, Bhagavad Dharman,
श्रीधर्मान
भगवद्धर्मान
Masa Vyasa Yogada. Jamaati.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। दान धर्मान राजा धर्मान मोक्ष धर्मान विभागशः स्त्री धर्मान भगवत धर्मान समासा व्यास योगदा। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Manohari Maji.
हरे कृष्णा। दान धर्मान राज्य धर्मान मोक्ष धर्मान विभागशः स्त्री धर्मान भगवत धर्मान समासा व्यास योगदाः। हरे
Hare
कृष्णा।
Krishna. Belinda Maji.
हरे कृष्ण। दान धर्मान राजधर्मान मोक्ष धर्मान विभागशः स्त्री धर्मान भगवत धर्मान समासाव्यासा योगतः। May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Dana dharman, the acts of charity. Raja dharman, pragmatic activities of the king. Moksha dharman, the acts for salvation. Vibhagashah, by division. Stri dharman, duties of women. Bhagavad dharman, the acts of devotees. Samas, generally. Vyasa, explicitly. Yogatah, by means of. Translation. He then explained by divisions acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king, and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively. Perfect by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. To give charity is one of the householder's main functions, and he should be prepared to give in charity at least 50% of his hard earned money. A brahmachari or student should perform sacrifices, a householder should give charity, and a person in the retired life or in the renounced order should practice penances and austerities. those who are the general function of all the ashramas or orders of life on the path of self realization. In the brahmachari life, the training is sufficiently imparted so that one may understand that the world as a property belongs to the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. No one, therefore, can claim to be the proprietor of anything in the world. Therefore, in the life of a householder, which is a sort of license for sex enjoyment, one must give in charity for the service of the Lord. Everyone's energy is generated or borrowed from the reservoir of energy of the Lord. Therefore, the resultant actions of such energy must be given to the Lord in the shape of transcendental loving service for Him. As the rivers draw water from the sea through the clouds and again go down to the sea, similarly, our energy is borrowed from the Supreme Source, the Lord's energy, and it must return to the Lord. That is the perfection of our energy. The Lord, therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 9.27 says that whatever we do, whatever we undergo as penance, whatever we sacrifice, whatever we eat, or whatever we give in charity must be offered to Him, the Lord. That is the way of utilizing our borrowed energy. When our energy is utilized in that way, our energy is purified from the contamination of material inebrieties, and thus we become fit for our original natural life of service to the Lord. Rajadharma is a great science, unlike modern diplomacy for political supremacy. The kings were trained systematically to become munificent and not merely be tax collectors. They were trained to perform different sacrifices only for the prosperity of the subjects. To lead the prajas to the attainment of salvation was a great duty of the king. The father, the spiritual master, and the king are not to become irresponsible in the matter of leading their subjects to the path of ultimate liberation from birth, death, disease, and old age. When these primary duties are properly discharged, there is no need of government of the people by the people. In modern days, the people in generally occupy the administration by the strength of manipulated votes, but they are never trained in the primary duties of the king, and that is also not possible for everyone. Under the circumstances, the untrained administrators play havoc to make the subjects happy in all respects. On the other hand, these untrained administrators gradually become rogues and thieves and increase the taxation to finance a top heavy administration that is useless for all purposes. Actually, the qualified brahmanas are meant to give direction to the kings for proper administration in terms of the scriptures like the Manu Samhita and Dharma Shastras of the Parashara. A typical king is the ideal for of the people in general, and if the king is pious, religious, chivalrous, and munificent, the citizens generally follow him. Such a king is not a lazy, sensuous person living at the cost of the subjects, but alert always to kill thieves and dacoits. The pious kings were not merciful to dacoits and thieves in the name of nonsensical ahimsa non-violence. The thieves and dacoits were punished in an exemplary way so that in the future no one would dare commit such nuisances in an organized form. Such thieves and dacoits were never meant for administration as they are now. The taxation law was simple. There was no force, no encroachment. The king had a right to take one fourth of the production made by the subject. The king had a right to claim a fourth of one's allotted wealth. One would never grudge parting with it because, due to the pious king and religious harmony, there was enough natural wealth, namely grains, fruits, flowers, silk, cotton, milk, jewels, minerals, etc., and therefore no one was materially unhappy. The citizens were rich in agriculture and animal husbandry, and therefore they had enough grains, fruits, and milk without any artificial needs of soaps and toilets, cinemas, and bars. The king had to see that the reserved energy of humanity was properly utilized. Human energy is meant not exactly for fulfilling animal propensities, but for self-realization. The whole government was specifically designed to fulfill this particular purpose. As such, the king had to select properly the cabinet ministers, but not on the strength of voting background. The ministers, the military commanders, and even the ordinary soldiers were all selected by personal qualification, and the king had to supervise them properly before they were appointed to their respective posts. The king was especially vigilant to see that the tapasvis, or person who sacrificed everything for disseminating spiritual knowledge, were never disregarded. The king knew well that the supreme personality of Godhead never tolerates any insult to his unalloyed devotees. Such tapasvis were trusted leaders, even of the rogues and thieves, who would never disobey the orders of tapasvis. The king would give special protections to illiterates, the helpless, and widows of the state. Defense measures were arranged previous to any attacks by the enemies. The taxing process was easy, and it was not meant for squandering, but was for strengthening the reserve fund. The soldiers were recruited from all parts of the world, and they were trained for special duties. As far as salvation is concerned, one has to conquer the principle of lust, anger, unlawful desires, avarice, and bewilderment. To get freedom from anger, one should learn how to forgive. To be free from unlawful desires, one should not make plans. By spiritual culture, one is able to conquer sleep. By tolerance only, one can conquer desires and avarice. Disturbance, disturbances from various disease can be avoided by regulated diets. By self-control, one can be free from false hopes, and money can be saved by avoiding undesirable association. By practice of yoga, one can control hunger, and worldliness can be avoided by culturing the knowledge of impermanence. Dizziness can be conquered by rising up, and false arguments can be conquered by factual ascertainment. Talkativeness can be avoided by gravity and silence, and by prowess one can avoid fearfulness. Perfect knowledge can be obtained by self cultivation. One must be free from lust, avarice, anger, dreaming, etc., to actually attain the path of salvation. As far as the women class are concerned, they are accepted as a power of inspiration for men. As such, women are more powerful than men. Mighty Julius Caesar was controlled by a Cleopatra. Such powerful women are controlled by shyness. Therefore, shyness is important for women. Once this control valve is loosened, women can create havoc in society by adultery. Adultery means production of unwanted children, known as Varna Shankara, who disturb the world. The last item taught by Bhishma Deva was the process of pleasing the Lord. We are all eternal servants of the Lord, and when we forget this essential part of our nature, we are put into material conditions of life. The simple process of pleasing the Lord, for the householders especially, is to install the deity of the Lord at home. By concentrating on the deity, one may progressively go on with the daily routine work. Worshipping the deity at home, serving the devotee, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place, and chanting the holy name of the Lord are all inexpensive items by which one can please the Lord. Thus, the subject matter was explained by the grandfather to his grandchildren. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 28. Dharma,
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 Artha,
Artha,
Kama,
Kama,
Moksha,
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 Cha,
Cha,
Saha,
Saha,
Upayan,
Ubaya,
Yatha,
Yada,
Mune,
Mune,
Bhana,
Nana,
Akhyana,
Ajnana,
आख्याना
Idihaseshu,
Idihaseshu,
Varnayam,
Varnaya,
वर्णयाम
Asa,
Asa,
Tattvavid,
Tattvavid,
तत्त्ववेद
Dharmartha mokshamscha
धर्मार्थकाममोक्षांश्च
Hopayan yatha mune
सहोपायान् यथा मुने
Nanakhyani dihaseshu
ज्ञानादिहासेषु
Varnayamasa tattvaet
वर्णयामास तत्त्ववेत्
Dharmartha mokshamscha
धर्मार्थकाममोक्षांश्च
धर्मार्थकाममोक्षांश्च
Hopayan yatha mune
सहोपायान् यथा मुने
Nanakhyani dihaseshu
नानाख्यानेषु
Varnayamasa tattvaet
वर्णयामास तत्त्ववेत्
Dharmartha mokshamscha
धर्मार्थकाममोक्षांश्च
Hopayan yatha mune
सहोपायान् यथा मुने
Nanakhyani dihaseshu
ज्ञानादिहासेषु
Varnayamasa tattvaet
वर्णयामास तत्त्ववेत्
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। धर्मार्थकाममोक्षांश्च सहोपायान् यथा मुने नानाख्यानेऽधिहासेषु वर्णयामास तत्त्ववेत्। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Dharmartha kama mokshamscha sahopayan yada mune nana akyana idihaseshu varnayamasya tattvavid. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dharma artha kama mokshamscha sahopayan yatha mune nanakyan itihaseshu varnayamasa tattvavid. May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Dharma, occupational duties. Artha, economic development. Kama, fulfillment of desires. Mokshan, ultimate salvation. Cha, and Saha, along with. Upayan, means. Yatha, as it is. Mune, O sage. Nana, various. Akhyana, by recitation of historical narrations. Itihaseshu, in the histories. Varnayam, asa, described. Tattvavid, one who knows the truth. Translation. Then he describes occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, for he was himself well acquainted with the truth. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Purport. Incidents mentioned in the Vedic literatures, such as the Puranas, Mahabharatas, and Ramayana, are factual historical narrations that took place sometimes in the past, although not in any chronological order. Such historical facts, being instructive for ordinary men, were assorted without chronological reference. Besides that, they happen on different planets, nay, in different universes, and thus the description of the narrations is sometimes measured by 3 dimensions. We are simply concerned with the instructive lessons of such incidents, even though they are not in order by our limited range of understanding. Bhishma Deva describes such narrations before Maharaja Yudhishthira in reply to his different questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Verse 29. Dharmam pravadadas tasya sa kala pratyubastida yo yogina chandamrityo vanchidas tu uttarayana dharma pravadastasya sagala pratyubastida यो योगिनां चन्दमित्यो
यो योगिना
Sangamityo
वाञ्छितस्तु उत्तरायणा
Vanjidastu Tarayana
धर्मप्रवतस्तस्य
धर्मं
Tadasya
सकाला प्रत्युपस्थिता
प्रकाल
Sakala Murtipastida
यो योगिनश्शब्दमित्यो
यो योगिना
Yogina Sangamityo
वाञ्छितस्तौ उत्तरायणा
Tarayana
शैलजामाजी
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। धर्मं प्रवदतस्तस्य सकाला प्रत्युपस्थिता यो योगीन छन्दमृत्यो वाञ्छितस्तु उत्तरायण। हरे कृष्णा।
मनोहर जी
कृष्ण धर्मं प्रवदत्तस्तस्य सकाला प्रत्युपस्थितः यो योगिनाश्चन्दमृत्युर्वाञ्छितातुत्तरायणः। हरे कृष्ण।
वीरेन्द्रमाजी
Hare Krishna. Dharmam pravadatastasya sakalah pratyupastitah yo yogina chandamrityor vanchitastu uttarayanah. Hare Krishna.
yes
Dharma, occupational duties, pravadataha, while describing tasya, his, saha, that, kalaha, time, pratyupastitaha, exactly appeared, yah, that is, yoginaha, for the mystics, chandamrityuhu, of one who dies according to one's own selection of time, vanchitaha, is desired by, two, but, uttarayanaha, the period when the sun runs on the northern horizon. Translation: while Bhishmadeva was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who die at their will. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. The perfect yogis or mystics can leave the material body at their own sweet will at a suitable time and go to a suitable planet desired by them. In the Bhagavad Gita 8.24, it is said that self-realized souls who have exactly identified themselves with the interest of the Supreme Lord can generally leave the material body during the time of the fire god's effulgence and when the sun is in the northern horizon and thus achieve the transcendental sky. In the Vedas, these times are considered auspicious for quitting the body, and they are taken advantage of by the expert mystics who have perfected the system. Perfection of yoga means attainment of such supermental states as to be able to leave the material body as desired. Yogis can also reach any planet within no time without a material vehicle. The yogis can reach the highest planetary system within a very short time, and this is impossible for the materialist. Even attempting to reach the highest planet will take millions of years at a speed of millions of miles per hour. This is a different science, and Bhishma Deva knew well how to utilize it. He was just waiting for the suitable moment to quit his material body, and the golden opportunity arrived when he was instructing his noble grandsons, the Pandavas. He thus prepared himself to quit his body before the exalted Lord Shri Krishna, the pious Pandavas, and the great sages headed by Bhagavan Vyasa, etc., all great souls. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदवनं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamsa Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarne Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktive Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Vashavanavi Devi Daityaya Krivabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanadayane Prabhave Namah Madhuryo Premādhya Rūpānuga Bhaktidām Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastude Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinadarine Rūpānuga Viridhava Siddhanta Dvandaharine Namo Kishoraya Sakshal Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambode Padambuje Te Namaha Nam Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Surubaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbha Bhumestam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyam Vaishnava Sarvabhaumo Shri Jagannadhaya Te Namaha Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha H.I. Goshai Kuricharan Bandhan Jaham Hote Vignanash Abhishta Puran Vancha Kalpadruvesya Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namam Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktigam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagalpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namastude Jayadam Suradopangor Mama Mandamade Gade Mat Sarvasvadam Bojo Radha Madana Mono Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadhumada Srimad Nagarasimhasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtharabi Sevimano Smarami Sriman Rasarasarambi Vamshi Vadattarasthidaha Kashan Venuswanairgopi Govinada Shriyetunam Taptakanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanasude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare दान धर्मान राज धर्मान मोक्ष धर्मान विभागशः स्त्री धर्मान भगवद धर्मान समास व्यास योगदा. He then explained by divisions acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees both briefly and extensively. Hare Krishna. So, when questioned by Yudhishthira regarding the duties of a king, because now Yudhishthira has decided that he should now take up the responsibility of ruling the vast kingdom. So he wanted to clarify these things with Yudhishthira, Bhishmacharya, who was the foremost authority. There was no one else who could explain better the Varnashram system and the duties connected with the Varnashram system other than Bhishmacharya. So these questions were put up by Yudhishthira, and answer to that, Bhishmacharya started explaining first the Varnashama. First, here is described in details the Varnas. Which are the Varnas?
Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Sudras.
And before that, generally, what is common for everyone, he described that one, that also, some 9 principles of not to be angry, not to lie, etc. And then that will put you into a civilized path. Now, the Varnashram system, people in the Varnashram system are civilized people. Aryas. Outside the Varnashram system are the uncivilized. Like Kirada Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha, Abhira Shumba, Yavana Kasadaya, etc. These are all outside the Varnashram system. Within the Varnashram system is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, who are following a very civilized life, cultured life, which is meant at final going back to Godhead or realization or moksha. This is the ultimate aim, and which can be realized only in a very systematic, organized system by which people can be engaged in their occupational duties according to their karma and their gunas, and they can offer the results of their karma and work nishkama and finally realize themselves. So this is a beautiful system put in place by Krishna alone, as described in verses 3.10 to 14, 3.10 to 16, and then later 4.13. And then later in the 18th chapter, this describes all the qualities of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So Brahmanas basically the intellectual class, Brahmajani, the Brahmana, teaching Veda, studying Veda, teaching Veda, conducting yajna, teaching how to conduct yajna, and then receiving dana, charity, and giving charity. These are basically the qualities and the duties of the Brahmana. Qualities, of course, 9 qualities of Brahmana is there in the 18th chapter. And then Kshatriyas are administrative warrior class. And their duty is to give dana and not to receive dana, administer fairly, and be brave, etc. He cannot be non-violent. In later chapters, Srila Prabhupada says nonsensical ahimsa. A king has to use violence to curb this, vanquish the demonic nature people. So this is entirely different from what the present day administrations based on democracy, manipulated votes, people who doesn't know anything about spirituality or the system, how to administration, and there are no brahmanas to advise them also. So everything is in a very chaotic conditions nowadays. Then Vaishyas, the mercantile community, the agriculturists, and there are people who are producing wealth by protecting animals and cows, cultivating the earth, the land, and raising foodstuffs from them, and doing some trades based on what you are getting from forests, the mountains, the seas, natural products. These are all the duties of Vaishyas, and then Shudras are less intelligent and less people who have no independence have to help other 3 classes, and they need to be fully satisfied the higher classes. They should not be exploited, but they should not give in too much money. So they should be fed with the nice clothes, nice food, and then dressed with nice clothes, and all their material needs should be satisfied. So this is in nutshell the varnas. Then ashramas are the stations, spiritual stations by which one can progress ourselves spiritually. So we have 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. Spiritual stations, ashramas we can define it as spiritual stations, like
Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi.
yes. So starting with brahmacharya, so this is either how they are realized is both by detachment and attachment. Detachment by brahmacharya, varnashma people, people in the varnashma state, and then sannyasas. They are totally detached from material thing. They don't have any attachment. They are devoting the entire life for spiritual enhancement. But there are other people also who have some attachment and they are encouraged to get married and satisfy their needs in a regulated manner, but keeping Krishna always in the focus. So when Srila Prabhupada elsewhere mentions that a Grihastha is totally devoted to Krishna and just resides in the house, just look after Krishna and doing rendering service to him, rendering service to Krishna, rendering service to devotees, etc. So these they are as good as other ashramas. When you have these vanaprasthas and sannyasas, they are also without attachment. And the highest varna is accepted as a sannyasi. And having described the varnas and then ashramas, then within the ashramas, more details about these ashramas, more details of ashrama is given in this verses 27, 28, 29. Dana dharman, raja dharman, moksha dharman. So, dana, giving charity, is the function of grihasthas, is also a function of kshatriya kings. They should always give in charity. And Srila Prabhupada says that the grihasthas should contribute 50% of their income for promoting Krishna consciousness. So, dana is given as a matter of duty at proper time and place. Charity in different modes, Satoguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna, are given in the 17th chapter, 20, 21, and 22. Datavyam iti yaddanam diyade anupakarine deshe kale cha patre cha tadhanam sattvigam skridam. That gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to a worthy person and without expectation of return is considered to be charity in the mode of goodness. Yes. So proper time and place and as a matter of duty, this should be done. And for ultimate purpose is to a spiritual enhancement. So any act, whether austerity, spirituality, danas, tapasya, yajna, any activity which is done without the object of raising yourself spiritually will be charity, austerities, yajnas, etc. in the mode of Rajogun and Tamogun. So we should always do these acts in Satguna only. Because the person, the king, he knows very well that whatever he is distributing belongs to Krishna only. Isha Vasham Idam Sarva. And whatever action he is taking, whatever activities he is entrusted with or doing as a matter of his occupational hazards, the energy is supplied by Krishna only. Whole reservoir of energy is coming from Krishna. 18.14. Adhishtanam Chadakarta, Karam Cha Pradak Vidam, Vivides Cha Pradak Cheshtas, Devam Cha Panchatmaham. So the five factors, ultimately, the fifth factor, Deva or Paramatma, is most important because everything else is being sustained by Krishna's energy only. Everything stands on Krishna's energy. Krishna is the source of everything. Am Sarvasya Prabha, which means he is the source of energy also. So this energy we are using for maintaining ourselves. So quite naturally, obviously, we should use his energy for his satisfaction only. So this is a science behind dana. So when we are utilizing this energy, then it will help us to purify the contamination of undertaking any action, so that we become purified and then become fit enough for original natural life of service to Krishna. So in 9.27, Srila Prabhupada is quoting, Yat karhoshi yadashnasi yadadasi juhosi yat tavasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Everything, all activities, not only activities restrained to the varnas, the occupational hazards, but all activities, any activity, whatever activities we undertake, we are able to do it because of energy given by Krishna. That should be always in our mind, in our consciousness. So Rajadharma, next Rajadharma is a duty of a king to look after his subjects. King is protector of his subjects. The subjects are relying on him. So he provides all the infrastructure. Then he ensures that everybody is engaged in their occupation as such. That should be the primary duty of Krishna, the king, that he should always see that everyone is engaged. Everyone is engaged in their occupation. The Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, everyone. So he should be well trained. The Kshatriya should be very well trained in administration. And that is a duty of Brahmanas, to train him properly. Without training, nobody can rule the country perfectly. Nowadays, the modern administrators or the leaders, they lack this training. So they became fast. They're only interested in taxing the people, taking money from them, and they kick havoc on the lives of the subjects. So that is a problem with the modern day administration. But in the previous times, they were guided by the Dharma Shastras. There are 20 Dharma Shastras. I'll share this conversation with Meta AI. Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Aturi Smriti, Vishnu Smriti, Hari Smriti, Angira Smriti, Yama Smriti, Apastamba Smriti, Gautama Smriti, Devala Smriti, Shanka Smriti, Lakhita Smriti, Daksha Smriti, Shatatapa Smriti, Parashra Smriti, Samvrata Smriti, Vyasa Smriti, Shanga Smriti, Katyana Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti. So out of this, of course, the best is, the most popular and among this, the essence is Manusmriti only. Then we have Katyana Smriti, Parashra Smriti, Vyasa Smriti, Brihaspati Smriti. These are also very important. And Parashra Smriti is attributed to Rishi Parashra, and one of the important Dharma Shastras. It covers the Nitya Karma, daily rituals and duties, laws related to marriage, inheritance, and social conduct, penances and purification rituals, duties of different castes and stages of life, Varnashrama Dharma. So a notable aspect is to emphasize on adopting laws according to the changing times. So different yugas are there, and the rules will change according to the yuga also. This has to be very much kept in mind, because this is a temporary world, so everything is changeable also according to time and place and circumstances. And time is measured in big times, are measured in terms of yugas, like the 4 yugas we have. So Manusmriti is the best of all the Mashastras. It deals with creation of universe, social order, duties of king, Rajadharma, and governance, and all this. So one should be well trained in Dharma Shastras before one can take up the duty of a king. And here Srila Prabhupada says king should be very, very unmerciful towards dacoits and thieves. They should be vanquished. Then only other people can do their sustenance of life, occupation duties in a free state. So since the king is providing all these facilities for subjects to flourish and nourish in their life, he is also eligible for taking taxes from them. So that is explained in this one. One part of Rajadharma is to take taxation. Srila Prabhupada writes that the king is eligible for 1/4 of the whole produce. So 25% should go to king only. Because the king is providing all those conditions for you to engage in agriculture, trade, whatever is of modes, occupational duties. Just like the modern government is also taking the taxes, because government is supporting the infrastructure. So government has got every right to take tax from them. But nowadays, the taxes are used for worthless purpose. Whatever revenue you're getting from tax is used for worthless things. So that is a waste. Again, the king will tax, the government tax more and more. And finally, the subjects will be so much harassed that they will run away from their homes and resort to mountains. This is given in Bhavishya Purana, in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Bhagavad Dharma or Moksha Dharma. This is also a duty of the king to organize yajnas so that he should engage energy of the subjects for the ultimate realization of the self. So the whole duty of the government is ultimately to bring the people to the Moksha Kavada, the gate of liberation. So the king has to be very, very careful in choosing his departments, his ministers, his military commanders, Even the ordinary soldiers, Srila Prabhupada says, were selected by personal qualification, and king had to supervise them properly before they were appointed to your respective posts. So king's responsibility is very much, because he should have, a country can be well run. Even for that matter, company is well run because the chief, the director board, or whatever it is, they are choosing the right persons for the right posts. If we are able to choose the right person for the right post, then it will ensure success. Everywhere is like that. In games also, if you are choosing the right person for the right spot or right slot, then victory is there. So we always has to concentrate on the selection part. Banks or companies, whatever it is, selection of the staff is very, very important. And here Srila Prabhupada says the king should be very vigilant to tapasvis, to see that tapasvis, who are the person who sacrifice everything for disseminating spiritual knowledge. So they should be always be well protected. Not only kings, even the divan, dacoits and rogues, they also respect the tapasvis. Like you can see, there's so many Yavana kings. Whenever Sri Narada is coming, they get up very reverentially and then bow down before him. Although they may be very cruel in other aspects, totally engaged in self-sense gratification, but whenever they are seeing Narada, Sri Narada, then they become very respectful and very humble. So this is the power of tapasvis, because they are carrying Krishna in their heart and they are capable of giving Krishna to you. So honoring tapasvis and protecting tapasvis is one of the main functions, main duties of the thing. And then Srila Prabhupada describes salvation, principles of salvation. Principle of salvation is to conquer lust, anger, unlawful desires, avarice, and bewilderment. So lust should be controlled by engaging mind in higher taste. Lust is always the mind. It is in the senses and then in the mind also. It is ever present, masquerading as a very sweet personality. Karma can create havoc in our spiritual progress. Krodha destroys our spiritual base, but we are very afraid of Krodha, and then we are very alert also as far as Krodha is concerned. But lust is so different. It masquerades as a very sweet thing, and then we are bewildered by this, and then we continuously engage our mind in the lustful aspects. So lust is considered in Mahashna. He is a very, very dangerous thing. And lust can be conquered only by developing higher taste. Param drishtva nivartade. And the higher taste is always Krishna. So keep on chanting Krishna's name. In the beginning, we may not be chanting with full attention. But as we progress, our attention level will improve. And then we can chant with more more concentration and single-mindedness. So that will slowly curb this lust aspects. And avarice and bewilderment. Avarice can be is actually lobha, and this can be controlled by be tolerant to our greeds and their tendencies. We have to be tolerant, because always our mind will push us to achieve that higher level. Today you have this much, tomorrow you should have that much. The mind is always making prompting you to try to rise higher scales. So we have to be very, very alert and see that we don't make any plans, elaborate plans to improve our economic situation. So we should be aware of the facts of life, that facts of life is just to maintain the body, not giving to our karmas, desires. So Srila Prabhupada mentions the word worldliness, how you can consider worldliness by understand the temporary nature of the world. So if you can understand the temporary nature of our desires, naturally an intelligent person will not desire too much. Only that much which can maintain our body. So he gives a that paragraph is very beautiful. It's very crisp, that contains all the essence. Talkativeness can be avoided by gravity and silence. So in Tapasya, we have three aspects: body, words, and then mind. In the 17th chapter, you'll find that again. So this is a very long subject. We can go on describing this. Then Sri Dharma is dharma of ladies. In Manusmriti, the word is one very objective. People who taken exception to this statement is Nastri Swadandra Arhati. But if you go really deep into Manusmriti, which is actually the essence of all of the Dhamma Shastras, you can see that there's a very unique treatment of description or discerning of women's nature in other smritis, like Katyana Smriti and the Parashara Smriti, whereby it is established that the ladies, the Matajis, the women, should always be protected in all the stages of a life. This is very important. Now, when you say Nastik, Swandra Mahati, they should not be independent on their own. If they are independent on their own, they will naturally be exploited by immoral people, unethical people, and finally they'll end up in adultery. And adultery means you'll have Varna Shankara, unwanted children. That will spoil the kula. So Sri Dharma means to protect ladies all the time. And you have for last item is Bhagavad Dharma. And Bhagavad Dharma is a simple process by which you can please Krishna. We should always try to please Krishna only, whether we are a brahmachari, grihastha, vanapasta, or sannyasi. But among the four, the grihasthas are the persons who can engage themselves in deity worship in the house and always serve the devotees. Today, one of our devotees have posted in the group Srila Prabhupada's anecdote written by one Mataji, in which she's describing life of Srila Prabhupada before he went to America. While he was working in India, he was doing some business, pharmacy and all that, pharmaceutical company. had his own company. He had a company in Calcutta, then he had in Allahabad also. So they're saying that in Calcutta, his house was always open for all the Vaishnavas, especially his God brothers. So everyone used to take the liberty offered by facilities offered by Srila Prabhupada. They say that sometimes they come in the dead of night after doing some sevas, and Srila Prabhupada always welcomed them. He shared everything. He gave his room, and then he was sleeping on the floor outside. He gave all the facilities. Morning he used to cook for them. Although his family members were not very favorably inclined, especially his wife, still Srila Prabhupada continues to continue to do Vaishnava Seva. So you can see, age of 70 only Srila Prabhupada came to America, but last 70 years he was there. He was slowly trained himself thoroughly. Long training period, 50, 60 years. And right from young age, if you see the history of autobiography of Srila Prabhupada, you can see that even from young age itself, he was conducting Ratha Yatra, small Ratha, that. So, which means that he's always in touch with Krishna right from the very young age. And 60 years he made all the preparation, all the training, and then he went to America. That's why he's a success. Otherwise, how do you say just because one person 70 years, can he be successful? Is the reason that just because an old person only was he successful? No. He had tremendous long history of service to Krishna, service to his spiritual master, service to his God brothers, service to general public, service to Vaishnavas. So we should always remember this. How Prabhupada became as he is, the world's most renowned spiritualist. No doubt about this. To change the lives of millions. So verse 28, Dharmartha mokshamcha sahopayan yatha mune nana akhyane idihaseshu varnayamasa tattuvit. Then he described the occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, for himself was well acquainted with the truth. So, substantiate this Varnashram system. He has quoted liberally from Bhishma Deva, quotes liberally from histories and idihasas of the bygone days. And here it is addressed as Yatha Mune. Yatha Mune. Hey Mune. O Mune means O Mune. So, who is being addressed here? Who is speaking this verse? Who is speaking this verse? Sutta Goswami, isn't it? In between Sutta Goswami is there. And Sutta Goswami is speaking to Naimisharanya sages. So he's saying that Bhishmacharya described all the occupational things starting from history and bygone days, and Srila Prabhupada is whatever is described in Puranas, Idihasas, actual facts only, not some somebody's what do you call imagination or false stuff. No, nothing false. It is true and real, although it is not arranged in a chronological order. You can say it is being described in terms of the Tattva's principle, 10 principles, which has been described earlier. So all the pastimes will be all the cantos, each and every one canto will be prompting this one of these tattvas, the 10 principles, which is given in the second canto, 10th chapter. You'll find these 10 principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. which we have described in our earlier classes also. So this we can find spread throughout all the universes. So Bhishma was such a great authority that he knew all this. So he could very systematically educate Yudhishthira on this. And the last was Dharma Pradasasya Sakala Patipastida Yo Yoginas Chanda Mrityo Vanchidas to Uttarayana. So as he was speaking very intently. And then the rays of sun started changing from Dakshinayana to Uttarayana is taking place. So Bhishma Deva, as you know, he can die at time he wants. Swachanda Mrityu is there. Here, Swachanda Mrityu, in Swachanda, this is Chanda Mrityu only. Chanda Mrityu or Swachanda Mrityu, whatever it is, means that Bhishma Deva is capable of leaving his body as per his desire because of the blessing, the boon given by his father. So he can leave anytime. Then you may think that actually he is also one of these karmis who was turned to Nishkama, and he wants to pick up the time he wants to leave this body. So in verse 8.24 to 28, these are described, and Srila Prabhupada says that, and in Bhagavad Gita also says that devotees are not concerned about this, what time they should leave. Uttarayana, daytime, without smoke, very clear, and like that, etc., etc. But very clearly, it is given that devotees, it is not meant for devotees. Verse, I think, 24 or 25. Of the 8th chapter. Verse 26, 27. Devotees who know these two paths, Arjuna, are never bewildered. Therefore, they are always fixed in devotion. Naide sthiti patha jnanan yogi muhyadi kashana tasma sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. So devotees always focusing on Krishna. They are not bothered about this Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So why then Bhishma waited for Uttarayana? Because he wanted war to be over. He wanted to ensure that Yudhishthira is in place, number one. Then he knew that Krishna will bring them here, and he can see Krishna face to face, look at Krishna, and then leave his body. So it's not as if Bhishma Acharya was interested in leaving the body at the time of auspicious time. No, it's not like that. He's a devotee only. He wanted to see Krishna only. And he wanted, leave his body in the presence of Krishna. That was his desire. So yogi, of course he's a yogi, and he can leave anytime he wants, just like other yogis. And Srila Prabhupada says yogi can go to other planets also, other universes also. And Bhishma was a foremost yogi. He can do that also. But he was always restraining himself. He now exhibited his yogic capabilities, mystic, the 8 mystic qualities. Bhishma was full with this sattvic, mystic qualities. But now, not even once, he demonstrated these qualities. He could have easily done if he wanted. But he didn't do that. So Swachanda Mrityu also means that he can pick the time, but that is not important. He wanted to see Krishna. He wanted to die in front of Krishna. So andakale ameva smaran mukta kalevaram yaprayadi madbhavam nasasa samshaya. So Vishnu Deva is what he is himself Eganta Bhakta, unflinching devotee of Krishna, and all his actions are meant to please Krishna only. Even this instructions that is giving to the grandsons, the Pandavas, only to please Krishna only, nothing else. Not to and of course wanting to train Yudhishthira is there, but that is as per the desire of Krishna only. Krishna decided that Bhishmacharya should instruct Yudhishthira, and Bhishmacharya knew it, and then he is very executive. Although he is previously mentioned in the text that he is in no condition at all to speak. He was feeling so much pain. I mean, you can just remember totally wounded and then lying in a bed of arrows. See the situation, how much horrible it is for him. But he's least bothered his body, totally not body conscious. He just want to give credits to Krishna's instructions, carry out his Krishna's instruction. That exactly he did that by giving instructions to Yudhishthira. So we should always try to follow the footsteps of big Mahajans like Bhishmacharya, if at all we want to please Krishna. Thank you very much. Any clarification? Any doubts?
No, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpadruvis